So if you're a chiropractor and you've been on social media in any capacity for longer than 5 minutes, you've probably been solicited by a company who's offering to help you with your Google Maps rankings. They're going to tell you that if you're not in the top 3, you're invisible. They're going to tell you that they have a simple solution, something that's really easy that they've discovered themselves. Might even be a former chiropractor like me or even an active chiropractor that they've learned a secret that's helped them rank really, really well in their town. And they're going to share that with you for just a nominal fee to either teach it or do it for you. The problem is a lot of these companies that make things sound easy, they're actually gambling with your business. And if your business goes awry because of some shifty thing they've done, they're not going to fix it. And they're not going to be there to help you when that happens. So I want you to be aware of the dangers of doing some of these shortcuts and some of these hacks. And we're going to talk about that on this episode of the Rocket Chiro podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jerry. I'm a former chiropractor. I help chiropractors now with websites and local search. I help new chiropractors get started, stuck chiropractors get unstuck, and I host this little podcast. Today, we are going to talk about Google hacks, Google Map hacks, just a couple things that I hear a lot. I actually heard a new guy. There's always a new guy that popped up on my Instagram feed because I get these advertisements just like you do, because a lot of people think that Rocket Chiro is a chiropractic practice. So I get hit with the same stuff you guys do. I will say this: if you want me to help you with your website and local search, go to rocketchiro.com, request a website and SEO review. I'll actually look at your stuff, give you a custom video showing you what I see, what I recommend. We'll talk about whether we can work together or not. Completely free, no obligation. If you want to go beyond the podcast with some additional help, you can check out my Next Step program. It's a place where you can get some additional trainings, some access to me, and it's really great for chiropractors that are getting started or chiropractors that are out and feeling a little stuck, because the business and marketing side of chiropractic can be a real sticking point for your success. School doesn't tend to teach that. Life doesn't tend to teach it unless you learn expensive lessons the hard way through life. You can learn by someone who's done it and get some really good sound advice to help you heading in the right direction. So all that can be found at rocketchiro.com. So the other day I saw a new guy. He claimed to be a chiropractor. I don't know anything about him, but he was saying this hack that he was doing in his town to rank number 1 in the Google Maps. Now, a lot of these things sound easy, and I would say as a general rule, when someone makes something sound super easy, you should probably be cautious. It's the whole, like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So just be aware of that. The thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to local search in general is there's 3 basic categories that you have to that you're going to be building trust with Google and with AI. That is relevance, proximity, and prominence. So relevance and proximity are going to be pretty straightforward. If you want to rank well for chiropractor searches, you got to be a chiropractor. If you're doing acupuncture and you want to rank well for acupuncture, you kind of have to do acupuncture. If you want to rank well in Chicago, you have to be in Chicago. These things sort of make sense. So you need to be relevant to the search. You need to be relatively close to the person who's searching. Otherwise, the local search, you're going to have a problem. The other one is the harder one, and that's proximity and prominence. Prominence. And prominence is the hard one because prominence is really about authority, and there's a lot of different ways to build prominence. One of the ways you build prominence is through engagement. And this makes sense if you really think about it. The most prominent chiropractors in your area are going to have the most views on their website or the most views on their Google business profile. They're probably going to have more reviews than everybody else. They're probably going to have more traffic into the office. More people are going to be calling. More people are going to be using the apps for directions. It's just going to have more volume. And so this is sort of why in the last several years, this prominence thing has made the rich get richer. This is why it's actually hard when you're getting started out as a chiropractor to really gain momentum in competitive markets, because you aren't prominent, and it's obvious that you aren't prominent. And it's like, how do you make yourself more prominent than someone who is prominent when you're not prominent? That's sort of the trick. And that's like the hard thing. Well, what this looks like from a Google business profile standpoint is prominence can be reviews. It can be responding to reviews. It can be any interaction on your Google business profile. So phone calls, bookings, even people pulling up the app and using it for directions, you adding images, other people adding images, Google posts, all of these things in some capacity are interaction, and they're kind of weighted differently as far as Google is concerned, but they're all good. And it all points to prominence, assuming these things are done correctly. What companies do is companies have offered to help you with this interaction element of the Google Business Profile by faking some things. They're going to have people in the local area fake traveling to your office. There are companies out there that actually pay people to take 5, 10, 15, 20 burner phones and turn all the directions on and drive to your office. And it gives the illusion that a bunch of people are going to your office. It gives the illusion that there is traffic and heat and interest in your office. And that sort of makes sense. And there are elements to that where if you do that enough in a short period of time, you will see your business bump up in the rankings. Now, part of the problem with this strategy is that Google looks at patterns and consistencies. It's going to look at how do you compare to other chiropractors in the area? How do you compare to your historic norm? And these abnormal things where it's like, oh, wait, if all of a sudden on a random Thursday, you had 45 people that all hit the directions and went to your office at the same time, this is definitely going to be a potential red flag. And so things like that are not only shifty and questionable, but they also are not necessarily long-term. And the risk you run is that Google has policies against faking content. Google has policies against bribing people for things. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. And those policies exist. And so if Google finds out that you're doing these things, and maybe nobody reports the chiropractor, but I can tell you this, if I was helping a chiropractor, one of my clients in a particular area, and I knew that one of their competitors was doing these things, I would absolutely report them. Because that's someone who's gaming the system, and that's someone who's ahead of where my client is, and I can knock that person down by reporting them. And I'm not doing anything wrong. They're the ones doing something wrong. I'm just reporting them. So I absolutely would do that. And I would tell you that sometimes people think that like, oh, some other chiropractor reported me, like they're being a jerk. No, you're not following the rules. And if somebody finds out you're not following the rules and they report you, well, sucks to be you. And you could be in a situation where Google pulls reviews, Google blacklists your profile, Google like shadow bans you. There are all kinds of things that can happen, and they're much harder to fix once those things have happened. So you don't really want to get on the bad side of Google. And the other way to think about this, and we'll get into a secondary thing here that I heard about recently. The other way to think about this, and I've said this over and over again on the podcast, is you are building trust with these platforms. So Google and AI, when you're ranking well, it's simply they're referring to you because they trust you for that particular search. And the same way that you and I build trust through like relationships and communication interactions, it's a little bit different with these algorithms because they're building trust through data. But the same idea is there, like you're building trust. Like if somebody undermines trust with you, if you found out that the chiropractor you're referring to all the time is being dishonest with you, that's going to keep you from referring to them, even if they do a good job. But it's like, man, that guy was lying to me and that guy was manipulating me to get me to do what they wanted me to do. Like, I don't like that. And I know it's hard to think about an algorithm in that same way, but you're doing the same thing. You're undermining trust, and they are going to, when you break that trust with them, you're not going to rank well. Now, the other thing that I heard recently, which I actually thought was interesting, and I had to research this a little bit because I thought it was interesting. Another way that you can have interaction is going to be by adding photos. Now, it's a good idea as a business to add photos to your Google Business Profile occasionally to keep things fresh. It helps with interaction. It helps with people spending more time on your profile. It just helps. It's a good thing to do. There's also a possibility that other people can add photos to your Google Business Profile. Now, that's hard to do because most people just don't do it. Now, some people do, but most people don't. And so if a bunch of people were to add photos to your Google Business Profile, it's like, wow, that's really interesting because that means that these people, it's sort of like when someone leaves a review, like they're taking their time to do that. Like this isn't the business owner doing it, somebody else doing it. If somebody else is adding photos about your business to your Google Business Profile, that would be an indication of depth of relationship with your people. And that would be a really good indicator of prominence. Now, the thing I had heard is this guy that was claiming that he was running these like contests in his office, and basically sort of like a raffle type of thing or some sort of thing in the office where it's like, hey, let's like get a bunch of people to leave photos. Now, it's actually not a problem to ask people to leave photos on your Google Business Profile. Like if somebody has a monumental thing where they're feeling better, whatever, and they take a picture with you and you want to post it on your social or something like that, it's really not uncommon for chiropractors to take photos or videos with their patients. But if that person posted that to your Google business profile, that would actually be really cool. That actually might be more cool than if you do it. I would say it probably is. And so if you took a picture with your patient and you said, hey, if I send this to you, or if they take the picture and say, hey, would you share that on our Google business profile? That'd be really helpful. Like, I'd really appreciate that. There's nothing wrong with asking that. What's wrong is if you create a situation where it's like, oh, this month we're going to do a raffle, and everyone who posts a picture on Google, that person's going to get entered into the raffle. Because at that point, you're incentivizing. At that point, you're functioning in that area of you're incentivizing, you are sort of bribing that person. And I know, like, you're not saying, hey, post a good photo and a good review. I get that. But psychologically, it doesn't matter. You're asking the person to do it in reward for something. That's bribing. And these are the type of things that get you in trouble. So I would just caution you against it. And I know that sucks because, like, it's fun to think that there's a shortcut and there's a hack. But we got to go back to the main principle, which is relevance, proximity, and prominence. Like, how am I going to improve those things? And there are a lot of ways to improve those things. The more of those things you can improve, the more trust you build with Google and with AI, and the higher you rank with those things. And so what should you do? We're kind of back to the basics. You should be asking for reviews, and you should be making it part of your culture in your office. You should be posting photos. You should be asking people to post photos. If you happen to take a photo around the office or whatever, and you just say, hey, if you'd be willing to share a photo, that'd be really great. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing these things. You should post more of your Google business profile. You should be responding to reviews in your Google business profile. You should fill it out as completely as possible. You should be doing all the things that you should be doing anyway. But just be aware of hacks. These hacks might not be worth it. And if these hacks get you shadow banned or get you in trouble with Google, that company's not going to bail you out. It's your business. You're responsible for that. You should be careful with it. And some of these people that got these hacks and these tricks and these things that sound nice and they sound fun and they sound like a shortcut and it sounds like it could bump you to the front of the line, if it's too good to be true, it's probably not. So just be aware. I'm done. I'm out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for subscribing. If you know a chiropractor that doesn't listen, I'd love for you to share the podcast. If you would leave me a review, that would be awesome. You could do it on Google. There's the link in the footer of rocketchiro.com. If you want me to look at your website and local search, I'd be happy to do that and give you my 2 cents. You can request that at the website also. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys later.